Welcome to Local Bandography's early Sunday morning show.
Afternoon, VC. All right, like I said, going to show you this massive box of CDs I brought back from Winston-Salem. About 70 some CDs, so buckle up. Again, if you're not into CDs, then this is where you can turn the channel off. There won't be any records in this one. There's some great stuff in here, so I wanted to share these, and it's kind of a cool deal. This co-worker of my friend Joe gave him his 300 seat jazz CD collection, and I finally was able to get up to Winston and go through it, help Joe with what should be kept, what should be sold, and then he's like, any of the free jazz avant weird stuff, go ahead and take it home. So that's what I did. There was a lot of good hard bop in there, a full run of Jackie McLean of those Blue Note CDs, the Van editions. So that kind of stuff got saved out for Joe, and a bunch of Coltrane and a bunch of Ornette Coleman, and oh god, there was a bunch of good stuff in there, and the bop, the hard bop and that kind of stuff that I put aside for Joe. And so we're going to show you what I came home with. And then oddly, the first one isn't jazz. Most of this is jazz. He said that this was a life-changing record, so I had to take it. Strength in Numbers, the Telluride Sessions. I guess this is bluegrass, so we'll see what this is like. I'm sure John Digital Gramophone knows all about this one. But Joe said this is necessary business, so here it is. And we're going to try to move through all these as quickly as I can because there's a shit ton, like I said. This is one of my favorite jazz records of all time, so I had to take this one. Gratian Moncourt III, Evolution, the Rudy Van Gelder edition, Blue Note. Jackie McLean, speaking of him, is on this with Tony Williams, Bobby Hutcherson, Bob Cranshaw, and Lee Morgan on trumpet. This is some ghostly sounding, incredible stuff from that era. What did Teddy call this? Oh, I'm sure this was 1964. An avant bop. This is David Murray and Mal Waldron. Silence on the Just in Time label. There's some Mal Waldron originals on here, some Murray originals, but also like a Duke Ellington tune. Very cool. I dig both those musicians, so that one I kept. Got John Coltrane with Rashid Ali, the free jazz album, so not really one I didn't think Joe would gravitate to. Love this record, Interstellar Space. I have, of course, the vinyl of that. A lot of these I kept because I don't even have it all like this. The David Murray Special Quartet with McCoy Tyner, Fred Hopkins, and Elvin Jones on the DIW label from Japan. Or is this on Columbia? Well, maybe it's DIW Columbia. I still think it's a Japanese CD. Had never seen that one. And it's going to take me quite a while to get through on listening to these. This one's interesting. This is I.E. the Phantom from Horace Tapscott on the Iota label. There is a version of this with artwork on the cover, and this one does not have artwork. It's some kind of promotional version that's not even on Discogs. But the lineup has Marcus Belgrave, Abraham Burton, Reggie Workman, and Andrew Cyril. Andrew Cyril, great free jazz drummer. Reggie Workman, one of my favorite bass players in jazz ever, so that one I had to keep. Next, we've got one of the best ECMs, David Holland Quartet Conference of the Birds. There's a lot of ECMs in here. I took back a lot of ECMs with David Holland, Sam Rivers, Anthony Braxton, and Barry Altschul. This is essential free ECM outing in 1973. Got John Sermon, Chorus Skating. I think this is also ECM. UK horn player. with Chris Lawrence on this. Chris Lawrence plays double bass. There's a bunch of violins and cellos, but John Sermon's playing soprano, baritone, and some contrabass clarinet. I'd never seen this one, so I'm going to give that one a whirl. And, Horace Tapscott, Thoughts of Dar es Salaam. I'd never seen this Horace Tapscott. Can't remember what label this is on, but this is a trio with Billy Hart on drums and Ray Drummond on bass. On the Arabesque Recordings label from 1997. This is an original of this, I believe. There's a couple of versions of that I saw. I got all these on Discogs already. There's a lot of stuff that had some Middle Eastern leanings, so I didn't think Joe would care for much of that, so I got that stuff in here. Jan Garbarek, Ustad Fatih Ali Khan, and musicians from Pakistan, Ragas and Sagas. I think this is what? Also, is this ECM? Yeah, ECM. A lot of ECMs. Yep. Because the next one is surely ECM. Egberto Gismonti Trio. You know, Brazilian guitarist. Yeah, with a Nando Carneiro and Zika Asumquao. I don't know how to say that name. 896 ECM. I really dig Egberto Gismonti's guitar playing. This one was interesting because it's got Tomasz Stanko on trumpet, Rune Carlson on drums, Christoph Komeda, Astigmatic, and I'm not sure what label this is, Power Bros Records, Pen Music. I think this is a Polish CD, original. Some of these have some pretty decent value on Discogs. I dig this group. This is the Esbjorn Svensson Trio, plays Monk on Act from 96, I think, or 2000. I'm not sure. It's a German pressed CD. But this is Esbjorn Svensson on piano, Dan Berglund bass, and Magnus Ostrom on drums. Great, great group. This is a guy that, when I was looking for these, I saved out all the jazz-specific ones for Joe, because he really digs some Vijay Iyer, but he had some of the ones that were more the Middle Eastern-leaning stuff, so I think I got a couple of these. Vijay Iyer with Rujesh Mahanthappa, Raw Materials. And this is on Savoy Jazz. And then this is a free jazz pianist that I've seen here in Charlotte and spoke to him. Great guy. Matthew Shipp. This is the Matthew Shipp Quartet with Roy Campbell, William Parker, and Gerald Cleaver on drums. Pastoral Composure. Not sure. This is on Thirsty Ear. Had never seen this one. This is not sure. This is a 2000 year release. Next we got Charles Lloyd, The Water is Wide. There was a bunch of Charles Lloyd in there. I think this was the only one I took because it's on ECM. This is John Abercrombie, Larry Grenadier, and Billy Higgins. Brad Meldau's on piano. And I don't have anything from Brad, so that's why I wanted to check this one out. 2000 ECM. All right. Let's see what else we got here. A ton of CDs to get through. There's more here. Ralph Towner, Anthem on ECM. Great guitarist. Plays classical and 12-string guitars. It's just him. I dig Ralph Towner, so that one I grabbed. This is some free jazz players here. Charles Gale, William Parker, and Rashid Ali, Touching on Train on FMP. This was imported from Cadence, North Country Distributors, the Cadence Building in Redwood, New York. Got that little sticker on the back, kind of like, what's the one out west? I should know off the top of my head, but I can't remember. 1993 FMP. I missed out on getting the vinyl of this, so I'm happy to have the CD. And then you have David S. Ware String Ensemble, Threads. I've never seen this one. Free jazz tenor player with William Parker bass. William Parker's on a lot of stuff. Matthew Shipp, free jazz pianist on this one. Also on Thirsty Ear from 2003. All right, keeping it going. Let's see what else we got. What you got next here? This one's Tales of the Algonquin from John Sermon and John Warren. Of course, John Sermon's kind of an avant player from the UK. Kenny Wheeler, I think, is on this, and Harry Beckett, who are UK legends. So this was a cool one to find. I'm not sure the label on this one. I guess Vocalion. Yeah, Vocalion. This one's one of my favorite female vocalists. This is on the Owl label, which is probably a UK label. This is Jean Lee with Mal Waldron. Mal looks a little, they both look a little bit later on in their careers here. But this should be good. It's just her on voice with Mal Waldron on piano. And we've got more ECM, the Anwar Brahim Trio, which I've never heard. This is Strachan Cafe. And this is the Oud with a clarinet player and then some native instruments from Lasad Hosni. So I'm really looking forward to this stuff. That I've never heard this stuff. I love the Oud. So there's that one. And we've got Other Dimensions in Music, the Special Quintet with Matthew Shipp. Time is of the Essence is Beyond Time. This is on the AUM Fidelity label out of Brooklyn. This has got Daniel Carter on alto and tenor, flute and trumpet, who I really dig. So I was happy to find this one in that box of CDs. You got another Rudrish Mahanthapa, Black Water. So this is, he's on alto, Vijay Iyer's on piano, Elliot Humberto Cavi on drums. I guess there's a lot more Iyer in here than I thought. This is the Phil Woods Quintet, Gratitude. This has got Hal Galper. I love Hal Galper on piano and keys, so I grabbed that one. And these can be really good jams, these Phil Woods Quintet groups. This is on Denon, so this is probably a Japanese CD. All right, let's keep it going. We got another stack out of here. We've got Max Roach and Anthony Braxton, 1 and 2, 2 and 1. Some freer side of stuff from Braxton. On alto and soprano, saxes, contrabass, clarinet, and flute. On the Hat Jazz series, the CD series from Hat Hut out of Switzerland. There's the two fine gentlemen there. Happy to find that one in there. You got another Anwar Brahim with John Sermon this time and Dave Holland. Themar, another ECM. More Oud, this time with soprano and double bass. Got Eric Dolphy Out to Lunch on Blue Note. Yeah, one of my favorites of all time. And you got Eric Dolphy, Far Cry with Booker Little. I don't have this in any form. Jackie Byard's on piano, Ron Carter bass, Roy Haynes drums. So very happy that was in there. Then you've got the Tony Williams Lifetime Emergency. So the fusion end of things going with Tony Williams on Verve. This is a cool one. And you've got the British trumpet player Kenny Wheeler, Dear Juan on ECM. A lot of ECMs. Jan Garbrix on this one. Jack DeJohnette drums. Ralph Towner on 12-string guitar. Just to name a few from 78. Another stack here of these. Let's see what we got. Got Pharoah Sanders, Message from Home. Not sure what all's on this one. From 96. This is a cool looking CD. You got Ming from the David Murray Octet. somebody, I think Mike was just talking about, he liked this one better than the other one he picked up. But Henry Threadgill's on alto, Butch Morris on cornet, Anthony Davis piano, Steve McCall percussion. This one will be really good. Avant free stuff. On the Black Saint label from Italy. Then you got the Oliver Lake Quintet, Expandable Language, also on Black Saint. And of course, if you see these stickers, these came from Manifest Records in Charlotte and are impossible to remove. No chance of getting them off in any comfortable way, which is a nuisance. They defaced everything they sold just about. Kevin Eubanks guitar, Fred Hopkins bass, to name a few. Jerry Allen piano, which is a jazz bum's favorite. Henry Threadgill, Carry the Day, with a Composer of the Year sticker on this one. Not sure who's all on this. Threadgill's on this. Some newer players that I'm not familiar with. There's tuba on this one, so I should have left it behind. This one might not make the cut. Jeff Palmer. This is on Soul Note with Arthur Blythe and Rashid Ali on drums, free jazz drummer. So that's why I picked this one out. Island Universe. Kind of a terrible cover, but Jeff Palmer plays Hammond organ on this. This one might be up Chris Cole's Street. Soul Note. Another Italy CD. Back to ECM, Enrico Rava Quintet, The Words and the Days. Don't know the players with him, but I dig Rava on trumpet, 2007 ECM. Next, got Billy Hart and Chance. This is Cheap Heat if you find it on vinyl. Phenomenal album. Great drummer. William Parker Quartet, O'Neill's Porch on the AUM Fidelity label. This is the second pressing, it says, edition of 2000. This I grabbed because Hamid Drake is on drums. Great avant free jazz drummer. I don't know the other players with William Parker, who's a great, very busy bass player. On a lot of these CDs. Todd the Alduid from Alice Coltrane with Pharaoh, Joe Henderson, Ron Carter, Ben Riley. Legendary stuff there. Sunron is Orchestra, Jazz and Silhouette, featuring John Gilmore. Images and Forecasts of Tomorrow. Definitely, Joe wanted me to pick out the Sun Ra that was in there, so we definitely grabbed that stuff. Here's another EST, Somewhere Else Before. I hadn't seen this one before. Not sure the year on this. They're from Scandinavia somewhere. Another cool one to come across. Hard to find their stuff in the States. Another ECM, more than likely. Yeah, Paul Bley on piano with Evan Parker on sax, Bar Phillips on double bass. Evan Parker can get out there, so this would be interesting. Yeah, Vijay Iyer Trio, Accelerando. With Stephen Crump bass, Marcus Gilmore drums. I might have to get some of these back to Joe. I know he wanted these Vijay Iyers. This one's probably going back to you, dude. I missed pulling that one out for you. So they'll be here next time you come down to Charlotte. The Shape of Jazz to Come from Ornette Coleman. I've never had this on vinyl, so I have it now on CD. I've always been too picky on which one I'm going to pick up. And we've got, this is a great record, Where Fortune Smiles from McLaughlin. John Sermon's on this, Carl Berger, Dave Holland, Stu Martin. John McLaughlin shreds on this, on the guitar. This is some classic killer shit. Cool to see it on CD. I do have the vinyl of that. Let's see what else we got here. These are probably my favorite. This stack here is going to be my favorite finds in the box. And then there's a bunch of I'll show these first. There's a ton of Tomasz Stanko. This guy really had honed in on Tomasz Stanko stuff, and a lot of it's on ECM. This was Leosia with Bobo Stenson, Tony Oxley. Really, like Joe says, I don't like any of this pots and pans sounding stuff. That's what Tony Oxley does on drums. It's like pots and pans, but it's good. This is 97 ECM. Tomasz Stanko Quartet, and he's a Polish trumpet player, phenomenal. One of my favorites. Lantano. Now, I haven't heard very many of these. There's a lot of Polish players with him on these records, too. Here's one with Tony Oxley and Bobo Stenson. This is Bossa Nosa and Other Ballads. This is on a different label I've never seen before. Not sure on this one. It's a cool looking CD. Tomasz Stanko Quartet Suspended Night on ECM from 04. Again, all Polish players. Quartet. Tomasz Stanko from the Green Hill. This is a very expensive original on vinyl. Sermons on this one on baritone sax and bass clarinet. With John Christensen on drums. Stanko on trumpet. Yeah. That's a good one. What's this one called? Balladina. And this one's Edward Vasala's on drums on this one. So we've changed up the lineup a little bit with Dave Holland on double bass, Tomasz Stanko trumpet, Tomasz Zukalski on tenor and soprano saxes. This is a good one from 76 originally. This is a 2008 ECM issue. Got Manu Katché with Stanko Garbrick. This is Neighborhood on ECM. Never heard that one. Looking forward to that one. Here's Tomasz Stanko Quartet Matka Joanna. Disc made in Germany. Tony Oxley on the drums, the pots and pans. This ought to be a wild one. Latania, music of Christoph Komeda, who I showed a CD of earlier. Tomasz Stanko Septet. It's a bigger group. Christensen Terry Ripdahl is now in the mix. Bernd Rosengren on tenor. Some great free jazz players here. Polly Danielson, double bass. This will be really good. Tomasz Stanko Quartet Soul of Things. The last Stanko here. Again, ECM Quartet. All Polish players from 02. Told you, he must have really liked that guy. So we'll get into these next ones that are the favorite Poles. William Parker, Eloping with the Sun, with Hamid Drake, one of my favorite drummers. Looking forward to hearing this. I've never heard this. This is on Reti Records. Franz Kogelman, La Air Blue, on this Hatology series, which anything on this series is normally good, so that's why I pulled this one. Should be some Avant stuff. Maybe leaning free. Matthew Shipp Trio, the multiplication table. Also on Hatology. This is William Parker, double bass. Susie Ibarra on drums. So free jazz trio there. All right, so next, this last stack is the kind of the cream of the crop of the free jazz stuff that was in this box. So you got, this was my favorite that was in the box. Charles Gale with Sonny Murray and William Parker, Kingdom Come. Any of the Charles Gale stuff's kind of hard to find. This one's, it's not expensive or anything to get, but still hard to find. 1994 Knitting Factory Works out of New York. Really looking forward to listening to that one. Really cool looking CD. Great. He was this guy from Buffalo, New York. He was homeless for quite a while. He's a very, very smart guy, though. When you listen to him, there's that documentary that's out, or film from that time period with all these musicians in New York. That scene is really, really good about Charles Gale and everything he was involved with. Really cool scene at that time, free jazz. Tony Oxley Quintet, The Baptized Traveler. I've been looking for this on vinyl forever. Brutally hard to find and expensive. happy to get the CD. This is, I think, on a major label. This is probably what, I don't know, CBS? Columbia. This is a great one. Sonny Sharrock, Ask the Ages, free jazz guitarist, produced by Bill Laswell. Great to see that on CD in that box. Sun Ra and his Myth Science Orchestra, Cosmic Tones for Mental Therapy and Art Forms of Dimensions Tomorrow. So this is like a twofer. They fit both of them on there. I know that Brandon's looking for the vinyl of Cosmic Tones. So if anybody sees it, let Brandon know. Original of that he's looking for. David S. Ware Quartet. Matthew Shipp piano. William Parker. Susie Ibarra. This is on what? Godspelized, I think is the name of this one. DIW did put this one out, I think. Here's Khalil El-Zabar and Billy Bang, free jazz violinist on Delmark. Only Delmarks in the box. Really looking forward to this one. Of course, most intense record in the box, Peter Brotzman Octet, 1968 Machine Gun. If you want to get back at your neighbors and destroy them, this is what you use right here, FMP. Julius Hemphill Quartet, Flat Out Jump Suite on, what, Black Saint? Yeah. A little freer, spiritual Julius Hemphill. But this is Abdul Wadud on cello. Always great to find stuff with Abdul Wadud on cello. Anthony Braxton, 6 Monks compositions from 1987. This is Mal Waldron piano, Boole Neiglinger bass, Bill Osborne drums, Anthony Braxton on alto. Guessing this is going to be a more free approach to Monk stuff. Also on Black Saint. One free jazz musician I don't have very much of is John Zorn, so this was a cool one to find in there. The Big Gun Down. John Zorn plays the music of Ennio Morricone, great Italian composer. Did a lot of movie stuff. Icon Records. Getting down to it here. Anthony Davis with James Newton and Abdul Wadud. Free jazz cello player. Anthony Davis piano. 1989 Gramavision. Great label. Another David S. Ware. Go See the World on Columbia with Matthew Shipp, William Parker. A lot of the same musicians throughout a lot of these CDs. And then lastly is this Issachar Zebulon, John Zorn, the Circle Maker, and then Issachar's Masada String Trio, double. That's all the CDs, 28 minutes, got through them. Peace.